Hello everyone, it's Andrea. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. And if you've been with me before, welcome back. Now, I was a close to my heart maker for many, many years, and I have now switched over to Stampin' Up, and this is my third Stampin' Up layout that I'm going to share with you here on this video. So I just want to walk you through the photos. We'll walk you through the products that I think I'm going to use. Then we'll go through the process video. And at the end, I hope that you'll decide to become one of my subscribers. Kicking off a week-long collaboration with the creative design team. And if you're not familiar with us, we are a group of former makers that got together. We enjoy artwork, and we have been creating together for several years now. We have a membership group. We publish sketchbooks, and this video has to do all about those sketchbooks. The first thing I want to talk about are the photos. They're the star of the show, right? So this is the first time that the entire design team got together. We got together just a couple weeks ago in Vancouver, Canada, and it was so excited. And the photos that I've picked out to scrapbook are of a little stop that we made after hike to the tea house at Stanley Park. You'll see that photo here. And here are all 7 of us. So we had this little hike through the woods, and it was just beautiful there. I was just taken in by all the sights and being with nature. So these are the photos that I wanted to scrapbook. So I knew I had one really good landscape, and I had one really good portrait photo of Katie and I that I wanted to scrapbook, and then the other ones were like little supporting ones to my story. So the creative design team is launching a brand new 12 by 12 sketchbook. It's our volume 2, and I have selected a layout here that I think will work really well with these photos. Now, all of these layouts come with measurements, and we tell you exactly how to place these measurements. I thought this one would work best for me because we had this really good landscape photo and one really big portrait photo. And then I have all these little photos and even a journaling area. So I've printed out some little ones. So I thought this would be a great one to use. You can get your hands on this book along with any of our other previous sketchbooks on cdtcreatives.com. So we'll work off of that sketch. And then I want to show you the papers. Now, I always start with papers that I think will work. And then, the process changes over time. The first paper that I think will need to be used comes from this paper pack. It's the Country Woods Designer Series paper. And it has lots of aged woods. It's great for beach pictures, barn pictures, stuff like that. There's just all different tones, and there's front and back. There's 12 sheets in here, so you get quite an array. And this is the one that I thought might work really well with our photos, because we do have a lot of dark wooden tones to work with here, and I thought that this would be just a really good match. So that's the first paper pack I plan on bringing in a sheet of cardstock from. The second one is going to come as quite a surprise. So I'm just going to slide this out of my plastic envelope here. These are envelopes that I've gotten on Amazon. And this one is called Flowering Zinnias Designer Series paper. And I was looking for a good green color, and there's lots of beautiful florals, but there's not any true reds. I guess there's a little bit of red in here. This might actually work. We might be able to bring more of this in than I thought, but it has some really good green patterns in here. It's got wonderful florals, but there's one of the greens that I thought might work. And then there's also many other pages here, lots of florally pages, but this is the one that I thought might work really well with the photos too. Let me just stack these back up, and I'm going to lay this next to the photos, and you'll see why I thought that this might work as well. It's just got lots of bright greens, and I think it picks up the greens and the trees and in the lawn. So this is a possibility too. So that's one pack that I thought that I could work with. And, I didn't realize how many reds were actually hidden among those flowers. So that might work. I showed you that first sheet there that had this one. Has some real red tones, it looks like, right there hidden. So that might pick up some of the tulips that are here. I know it's Zinnia paper, but that might work. We might be able to get away with a little touch of this. And we know that every good project, really scrapbook layout, can always benefit from a good stamp set. And this is the Friends for Life stamp set. I love the sayings on here. And what I love most is that it has a coordinating die set. So I'm going to open this up and I'm going to show you this. And what I love about this, I love the heart. I love that it's 2 pieces. So you've got the inside, and this kind of mimics the leaves that we saw in that paper, in the Zinnia paper. And I love this great big oversized leaf here. Now, most of Stampin' Up's dies and card are designed for cards. This one I like because it's oversized and it'll work well. Even the title would work well on a scrapbook layout. So that's why I chose this one. I like the heart. You might see that outside heart in an element. You might see the inside one too, but you'll definitely see these leaves and probably the friend as part of my title as well. So that's where I'm going with this. So I'm going to come back. I'm going to go ahead and offline. I'm going to cut up some of that paper. And then I'm going to show you the process of building this layout. I have cut out all of our paper. I have our sketch right here, and we're going to get to putting these layouts together. I brought in my old Close to My Heart Versamat here. I love this because I can stamp on one side, it's foamy, and then on this one, I've got these really good grid lines. Generally, I just lay down a little bit of adhesive right here, and that keeps this base black sheet right here all lined up. So I've got this piece. This is the biggest piece of cardstock. And I did go with that really dark textured wood pattern here. And then I'm just going to put this down on the 9-inch line and make sure it's straight. Once we have that straight, the whole rest of the layout is going to go so much more easily. I have some old real red cardstock from Stampin' Up. I was a Stampin' Up demonstrator years and years and years ago. But here's the problem with this. It measured 11 7/8 way back when. And that was so it could fit into the page protectors that we had. So I'm actually going to just take the first set and cut them in half. And you're going to see why when I'm done building. I'm going to lay down some adhesive right here onto the layout. We'll leave a little gap in the middle. And the reason that I'm doing it this way is because I can seal that extra 1/8 of an inch right out of the center, because we're going to overlap this with the photo mat, so it will not be a problem at all. Really easy build so far. I did go ahead and selected that bold green pattern out of our Zinnia pack. So I'm going to lay that down up here, right above it. And then the directions say, the sketch suggests that you tear the bottom piece down here. And I do not love tearing, so we're just going to skip that little step right now. And hopefully there's enough going on with this layout that I don't need to worry about the fact that I didn't put that little decorative detail. Before I move on and build any more of the layout, though, I have something that I want to bring in. I've got a little piece of die cut, a little container die cuts here, but I want to bring in some water. And I have these Kiritaki, I think they're Japanese metallic watercolors. And I love these. I think that I'm going to just see how it looks, which one looks the best. This is metallic textured or textured metallic cardstock, and it's beautiful. It's one of our specialty papers with Stampin' Up, and I'm just laying that on top. And I do think that I like this first color the best, so I'm going to go ahead, and you can pop out these little pots just like that. Super easy. And I just want to give this paintbrush of mine just a little water. I want to create just a little bit of splatter, and I'm okay if the splatter is over all 3 layers of my cardstock. So I just want a little more color here. So I want a little down there, and then we'll go ahead and we'll use this again. Anywhere where I'm going to have a cluster, I want a little bit of this. We're going to give that a little bit of a chance to dry. I'm going to go ahead and build the second page the same as I did here. Let's look at this layout. We're going to have a cluster up in this area and a cluster down here. So I'm going to just do some little bit of splatter, but first I think I'm going to bring in this little piece here. Initially, I had thought that I was going to go ahead and put down a red piece here for this banner. And then I thought, well, maybe pink. And I actually asked the girls in the creative design team, I showed them, you know, what I was thinking with going both ways. And then Chelsea helped me out. She's like, go with red and double matte your photos. So I'm going to bring in some pink, but a smaller amount of pink. So let me grab this piece of cardstock. Now I've cut this according to the cutting guide, and I'm just going to gently fold this in half just a bit. I'm going to get this evened out here. Here we go. And I'm going to go from the two open edges, the corner. I'm just going to cut up just a bit. So we've got one of our little banner pieces. I'm going to do the same on this side. Now I think I could have done a little less down here. So I'm going to move this up. I don't want to see the green up here. So I'm going to make sure that I bring this up quite a bit. And then down here, I'm going to just cover this probably with clusters of flowers. So don't fear that I've got a little bit showing down there. I probably should have gone a little narrower with my cuts, but that's okay. So I'm going to bring this as close to the green as I possibly can. And there are, let's see. There we go. I'm just going to make sure it's about a ½ inch here in from the edge, and that should give us enough room. And now I think it's okay to go ahead and splatter. Clean out the paintbrush. And then I'm just going to switcheroo. We're going to go back to the original layout that we did, because hopefully this one's a little more dry. I'll lay this one aside to dry for a couple minutes. Get that all lined back up. Okay. So now what you need to do, according to our little photo, is I need one bigger photo mat in the middle here. So I've cut out that piece of cardstock. It's right here. And we are going to lay that down. So this also came out of the Zinnias set. This was not one of the patterns that I had decided to use initially, but it was in this paper pack. So we're going to use that. This is a photo of Katie Taylor and I. Now, again, the story was that we were in Vancouver all together, the whole creative design team, and this was like one of our last days, and we pulled into Stanley Park. We parked at the high point. We could see the city was over this way under the Lionsgate Bridge, and we started hiking this way. And we were hiking into the middle of nowhere, and we're like, where are we going? But we kept on harassing Chelsea. She's the Canadian, so we were teasing her about it the whole time. And it turns out that we just had the most fabulous trip, because when we came out down by the, I think it's a Sound, they call it, the bay. We came out down there, and we were going to go get tea, and it was just, you know, it was such a nice, relaxing place to stop, but they didn't have tea. They had dinner, and there was a wedding going on in there, a wedding reception, and there was an engagement party that people were coming in dressed up for, and we definitely were underdressed. So we sat out on the lawn, and we just had like the most fabulous time. It was a great way to spend some of our last, you know, a little bit of our last time together. We still had one more day together, one more full day, but this was just, you know, it was really nice. It was relaxing. I enjoyed the hiking thoroughly. So let's get back to this layout. The one thing that I did was that I decided that I was going to forego the journaling here, and I might go ahead and hide some journaling, you know, behind one of these mats or so, and just have it pull out. I'm not sure, but I wanted to include the second photo of the drink because I felt like the pinks pulled in the pink of my jacket, and therefore I could use this piece from the Zinnia. And I really just needed a contrast. This pink brightened up the whole layout, and so that was important. So I included the drink photo. And also, one of the other things I decided to do was to use that die set that I showed you, this Friends for Life die, and I picked out this stamp set and these dies because they were really a good size for doing layouts. And this leaf right here, this stem of leaves, is just fabulous. And so is this little one. So these are the Friends for Life dies. I do have the stamp set. We're going to use that as well on this layout. And then I decided to bring in some of my textured metallics, and I went for the gold. There's like a charcoaly color, but it had too much blue, and I needed more of like a brown color. Just had some blue undertones. So I thought this gold was an unexpected pop. And by bringing this drink in, I could then go ahead and use the gold accents. I hope that makes sense. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to go to my little bucket of goodies here. I've got all the dies, and you'll see we're going to look at them extensively. I've got one big flower that I cut out of the zinnia paper. And if you end up with edges that are white, if you're not a great trimmer, let me just bring this up under the camera. I trimmed this with a gold marker. I hope that you can see it. And that hid all of my little imperfections. I was happy with the way that that turned out. So I'm just going to go ahead, and this is going to go down in this corner right here. Maybe something like this. I've got a lot to build here. I also have a couple other little flowers here that I want to bring in. So I've got another one that I cut out of the smaller paper with the white. This one was busy. This bigger paper had lots of colors to trim out. But we've got this one here. And then I've got another little flower. And I think maybe right about there. We're just going to tuck this under. Just going to put down a little bit of adhesive here. The others I had put foam dimensionals under. So we have that. And here's the plan. On this one, I had wanted one green. It's going to go up. I have a little gold leaf. Now again, look at how beautifully that textured metallic paper cuts using the dies. It just, these look like high-end, really, really high-end type of embellishments. And I love that I could create a bunch of these. And I'm going to show you all of them. And I created all of the ones that we used. I'll show you at the end. But I cut a 2 1/4 inch strip of that cardstock. That was all that I used. And I'm just going to, you know what, I'm going to bring it in now. This is what I did. I put down Friends first. I did 3 of the little solid leaves, and then I did 2 of the bigger leaves again in the gold. And their stems did go off a bit. I didn't put the entire stem, you can see there. But who needs all those stems? It's okay that we don't have all of them. And I think I'm going to include one of those. Okay, so let's get these glued down. I think definitely has to be connected to this little tiny grouping here. So I'm just going to give that a little bit of adhesive too. Now there are 2 parts in the die set. One to give you an outline, and then one to give you the actual word. Be careful that you don't lose that little dot for the eye. I know there's a name for it. I don't have it. So far I'm liking that. And then the only other touch is that in the layout right here, you can see there's a little tab that Erin has designed. So I'm just going to flip this mat over. I'm going to lay this to the side for a moment. And I have used one of the dies to cut out. I've actually cut out 2 in case I make a mistake. Some black ink. And I just want to find that stamp set. And we're going to use Thank You for Being A. Hopefully that all fits in here. That's the plan. If not, we're going to leave Friend hanging on its own. So thank you for being a, way too long. I'm going to do one at a time. I'm going to stamp them closer to this end, even if I have to trim them down. I do like how that looks. So we're going to just adhere those down. Okay, so we have page number 1, left-hand page almost complete. So I'm going to set that aside. All that's left will be a little embellishing. Bring in page number 2. We have some photos for that one as well. That photo's upside down, I realize. So let's start by adhering this one. I'm going to lift this up. Let's make a little cluster of the leaves. This stripy pattern is a reverse side of this leaf pattern. I want to put 2 here. And you'll notice again, I am only tacking the ends. I want movement in those other pieces, and 1 more of these little gold pieces. I'll make sure that this has enough room to be seen. There we go. I like that little cluster. So that's cluster number 2. And then we have 1 more little cluster to do up here. So now we have used the die set. We've used the stamp set that coordinates. And I do have 1 other little pack of embellishments here. And these are the loose frosted dots. If I stamp it up. And I picked these out because they had just some really, really pretty colors. Now, if I try the pink against it, they turn kind of purpley because they really don't have much of, I don't know, it picks up the color through them somehow. And I feel like the bluish ones are too dark. So there are some that like have this iridescent yellowy background. There's some yellow and there's some bitty ones. So I'm just going to pick out a bunch of these. So I have 6 of various sizes because I want 3 in each of these clusters. And so let's see. I'm just going to lay down a few dots here. So how about we do 1 here, 1 here, and maybe 1 up here. And then I'm just going to turn this around. And for this one, I think we'll do 1 here, 1 here, and then maybe 1, do 1 way up here. So I'm really happy with this page. This one came together beautifully. And let's just go ahead and bring in the first page. This one, all that this one needs now is just the 3 little yellow pieces here. These are the changes that I made to the left page. I did put some dimensionals behind the title over here. I just felt like it needed something to pop up just a bit. I put a couple extra little gems here. So now we have 5 in this cluster instead of 3. And I just felt like we just needed that just to give it a little bit more interest since this is our main cluster. And one of the things that I did, remember the sketch? Here's the sketch. I think we stayed pretty true to it. We did not put the little tags up here, but I felt like this area was busy enough without those tags. And the only other thing that we didn't do was the tearing. But what I decided to do was I decided to just kind of roll up the edges very roughly because we have this beautiful green and white stripe design that we used on the leaves. And I just thought that was a good way, instead of tearing, to kind of give this just a little bit more of something that it needed. So I'm going to just show you here. Now, I don't use a lot of adhesive to glue anything down. So I can just flip this over just a bit, just roll it over using my fingers. There we go. So I just think it gives it just a little bit more added detail, and it's barely noticeable, but it's really pretty. I think we did Erin's layout like a really, really, we gave it a good go. I think we stayed pretty true to it. That is what I do with sketches. I start with a sketch and then make it a little bit my own. You can leave off a few things. You can move the subtitle from here to over there if it feels better. It just flowed better on this page, and we didn't lose that 3rd cluster. We've got a very big cluster there, so that's fine. And all in all, I'm so pleased with how this layout came together, so I could preserve these memories of this really special time that I had with my friends in Vancouver. And don't forget that we have our brand new sketchbook, the one that we've been working with today. It's available now on cdtcreatives.com. This is the second 12 by 12 volume we're doing. We have some 6 by 8s out there as well, and 8.5 by 11, whatever your pleasure is. And there are plenty of videos where you see the design team and I start with a sketch like this. So go ahead and look at all of our videos. There's so much material out there. I hope that you've enjoyed putting this together. Again, hit that subscribe button and don't miss any of my upcoming projects. Thanks for watching. Have a creative day.